Let the record show that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District has just completed an executive session during which it considered the employment of a public employees. So I move. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
It's not necessary to vote.
Okay. Thank you, Board Member Lacy. So let us now move on our agenda. Move to our agenda. Well, yes, sir.
No, 7:30.
Good. Thank you. Do we have any public employees who are here to speak tonight? Okay, thank you. Let us move to the superintendent's recommendation.
Members of the board, I'm going to read 3A, and then we will have a vote on 3A. May I have your approval for the following human resource items? DEA resignations after July 10th. There are 2.
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
It has been properly moved and second. The motion has been properly moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Okay. I think we're ready to vote.
President Walker,
Yes?
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
No.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, 6 yeses.
Okay. So the motion passes.
We're now going to move to 3B.
Okay.
I will read 3B, and then we will vote afterwards. I recommend approval of the following items. C, human resources. D, consultant services. No, we're just going to go to 3B. I apologize. I don't see anything under here. I have to what'd you say, refresh screen?
You want to refresh your screen?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. Okay. Yeah, got it. That's where it is. All right, we're going to go to 3B, waiving the 48-hour rule. I'd like to waive the 48-hour rule.
You can ask it. Just a second. Let's get through this.
Yes.
I motion that we waive the 48-hour rule.
I second.
Thank you, Board Member Lacy and Dr. Bagheera.
Who
Second.
seconded it?
Dr. Bagheera, second. Is there any motion relative to waiving the rule? Okay. Hearing none, I think that we're ready to vote on the waiving the 48-hour rule. All those
Roll call.
roll call, please.
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay.
And Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
could we request a vote de novo on item 3A because of, I think, widespread misunderstanding by board members? It was not placed in red, and since those resignations took place after July 10, it is the standard practice of this board to vote no on those resignations.
Mr. President, okay, yeah, they want to revisit this. It's a motion to reconsider, I
Okay.
believe. If someone who voted yes can motion and to reconsider, and someone who voted yes can second that.
And I,
So
since I
Jim, you
voted
just say,
yes,
I
yeah.
motion to reconsider 3A, if you'd like.
Yes, therefore, I would motion
Okay.
to reconsider 3A.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and second that we reconsider the motion of 3A. Is there further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
Okay.
We'll,
President Walker,
yes. No, are we this is a vote to reconsider the motion.
This is a vote, do we have to take a vote to reconsider first and then vote? No, this is a vote on this is a vote on 3A, up or down.
Okay,
If you want to accept the resignations after July 10th of the teachers,
That's a yes.
you say yes. If you do not accept their
Exactly.
resignation,
It's a no.
as we're allowed to not accept it after July 10th, you vote no.
Okay, thank you for that clarity, Mr. Lacy. We're ready to vote on the motion.
President Walker,
No.
Dr. Bagheera,
No.
Mr. Lacy,
No?
Mr. Lee,
No?
Mr. McManus,
No.
Dr. Roundtree,
No.
Ms. Taylor,
No.
7 no.
So that motion, that reconsideration is approved.
Okay, we're moving on to 3C, superintendent recommendations. And we will consider 3D, E, F, G, and H. I recommend approval of the following items: C, human resources; D, the consultant services; E, out-of-country field trips for Stivers; F, E, and H, also out-of-country field trips for Stivers.
I motion that we approve the superintendent's recommendations.
I second the motion.
Thank you, Board Member Lacy and Dr. Bagheera. Is there further discussion on the motion? Okay, Dr. Roundtree?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to request that we get some feedback on the consultation of the Allwood Farm. I think it's a good activity, but we never know how many children are served and how they're served. And so even as a consultant, I'd like an outcomes analysis as to the actual services they're providing, the number of students that are being served, and the outcome of that service. So that's one point I'd like to make, is we need more follow-up on a outcomes report when we contract with individuals or organizations.
Okay.
And then secondly, I commend Stivers. They were here tonight. They did an excellent job, extraordinary job. But I'd like to also add that I'd like to see other high schools more involved in taking those kind of cultural trips, that we support our schools for the performing arts, and I am an advocate for the performing arts, but I think we have to be an advocate for all students. And I think that all students can benefit from experiences outside their city, their state, their country. So I think when we begin to designate dollars for travel, we have to find a way to get those sixth graders back to Washington, D.C., to get high schoolers back to doing international service learning, and to have our students experience the world so that they're more prepared as global citizens.
Sir? I also want to commend the students of Stivers and obviously the adults in their life, because they did the fundraising on their own.
I do. I understand
Yeah.
that they do the fundraising.
Very impressive.
And they have their own foundation. I understand that. And the dynamics is that they draw students from outside of Dayton. So they produce revenue for our district. My position is still the same. It is still clear. That group of parents have a greater ability to raise funds. They have more political savvy, they business acumen. I can go on, and that's great, and we want to keep that. But for those students that don't have parents that have those types of skills, then we need to step in the shoes of those parents and provide those experiences for some of our leadership, for our student leaders. And I really feel very strongly about that. So we have to either train parents or we have to do it ourselves. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's go to Dr. Bagheera and then to Board Member Lacy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I also want to congratulate Stivers. This is something that they do annually, and quite frequently they travel to Europe. And of course, I want to congratulate their foundation and the parents who successfully fundraise. It is a great model for other schools in the district to replicate, so I would call on principals of other schools to help learn from this experience and organize perhaps similar seminars, I would say, to train their parents on how to do successful fundraising so that they can provide trips for the children in those schools. And then secondly, I want to note on Mr. Lawrence Walchley. Since it's noted in the record that he is, an administrator and a new hire, I just wanted to clarify that he's actually a senior accountant. So this new hire is going to be working in the treasurer's office, and that's because the treasurer's office of this very large organization that has 2,700 employees and essentially a $500 million budget when we take everything into account, only has, I think, 3 accountants, Madam Treasurer? Is that correct?
Yeah.
3 people with accounting degrees. So that's woefully inadequate, and as part of our improvement of this district, we put forward a goal for the treasurer to increase the number of qualified accountants to work in the treasurer's department. So I'm very happy to see this happening. It's absolutely essential that every department at DPS has professionals working there, and professionals not only, of course, through their educational or other certificated qualifications, but also through experience. But either way, I'm very glad to see that, and I believe that this will further help this district to improve its financial picture, as we have recently seen with the state audit, which has given us a spectacular audit. We haven't had such a great audit in the past 3 years. So it's fantastic to see that. So thank you.
Thank you. Is that person present tonight?
Not present tonight, but
Okay.
I have another one, the assistant treasurer
Okay.
present here. His name is Brennan Hattery.
Good.
He's a CPA, CFMG, and he's coming from auditors. He worked with the auditor of state. He has a vast knowledge of governmental accounting and auditing, so he will help us a lot.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lacy?
And welcome.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, these trips by Stivers, these are very different from prior year's trips. Well, first off, of course, because they're going to my ancestors' homeland, Ireland, for the first time in my memory. Of course, they're going to Dublin. I'll have to tell them to take the train down to Cork, where my ancestors are from. But even more so, the trip to the Dominican Republic is very different from previous trips, because this is to foster international mindedness, and they are doing a service learning project to give back to the community. So they're going to be working in the Dominican Republic, and this is not going to be a very pretty. It's going to be it's a beautiful country, but it's not going to be like a visit to one of the European capitals. So I wish them well and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lacy. Okay. I believe we're ready to vote on the motion.
President Walker,
Yes?
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree, Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay, thank you, and the motion carries. I believe we're ready for the treasurer's recommendation.
President Walker and board members, I recommend approval of the following items. B, purchase requisition. C, then and now. D, approval of minutes.
I motion to accept the treasurer's recommendations.
Second the motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lacy and Board Member McManus. Is there further discussion on the motion relative to the treasurer's report? Hearing none, I think we're ready to vote.
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree. Dr. Roundtree,
Dr. Roundtree was not feeling well and she was left early.
Ms. Taylor,
That would be for Dr. Walker to excuse her.
Sure.
Yes.
okay. 6 yeses.
Okay, thank you. The motion carries. And let me just interrupt the agenda, Treasurer Aberhart, to have the note, our minutes to reflect that Dr. Roundtree asked to be excused because she's not feeling well.
Okay.
Thank you. There's a resolution for the superintendent's contract. And on behalf of the board, I'm pleased to report that we are offering the superintendent a contract for the next 3 years, beginning August 1, 2017, through, will that be the 19th or the 20th? Not looking at through 2020. So we want to make that as a recommendation. And so I offer that as a recommendation. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Is there further discussion on this resolution? Okay, thank you. Hearing none, I think, I know that we're ready to vote on this one, Treasurer Aberhart.
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes?
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
6 yeses.
So the motion carries, and we want to express our congratulations and our appreciation for your leadership thus far, Superintendent Core. So we're looking for great things in the next 3 years, and I look forward to this journey with you. Yeah, thank you.
President Walker, do we want the superintendent to say a few words, perhaps?
Well, I was waiting. You know, we don't want to twist her arm, but let me reach over here and start twisting.
Well, let me motion that she makes she makes a speech. Is there a second?
I guess I can second that, right? So I was waiting until the end. I wasn't sure. First and foremost, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you for the past 6.5, 7 months, and I look forward to continuing the journey. I look forward to truly joining the Dayton community and purchasing a home here and becoming part of the moral fabric of this community. We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we also have a lot of good people, and we can do this work together on behalf of kids. And we know in our meetings, we don't always agree, but when we think about kids in the center of all of our decisions, we get down to it. So thank you. I am honored to be here. I am humbled by your vote, and I promise you and assure you that I and my team will continue to work very hard, very diligently, very collaboratively with the community, with the parents. I will continue to be highly visible, and we will work through this very diligently over the next 3 years. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you, Superintendent Core. Let us move to our board member assignments for 2017. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to accept.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Board Member Lee, and thank you, Board Member McManus.
I don't think there are any votes required.
No votes, this doesn't need a vote, okay. Well, let me just comment on this board member assignment. In addition to our monthly meetings, and I just want you to note that you have some additional work to do. And so, and this is a team effort, Dr. Bagara, and so we all pitch in and make it happen. And thank you. You have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. President. My comment would be only about the Technology Steering Committee. I would hope that the third board member would finally join. Mr. McManus graced the, my committee, so to speak, last year by becoming only the second board member. So I really hope that finally there'll be a third board member who would join us. Mr. Lee? Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. So
Well-
we got the third board member, Mr.
Thank you, Dr. Bagara. You know, the word was out that you were a hard worker, and we want to stay away from that those grueling assignments that you have a way of sharing with folk. And so, and I'm glad that Mr. Lee is feeling compassionate this evening, and he's going to take you up on that. Yeah, but in all seriousness, we want to say thank you for the tremendous work that you've done with our technology committee, especially for the last 2 years.
And Dr. Walker, because that's not a required vote, but it should be changed on the board member assignments to add me to it, and I promised board member Bagaroff that I would do that, so I'm going to try to be a man of my word this year.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We will have staff to make that revision. Okay. Superintendent Core?
So one thing I do want to add is I had the distinct pleasure of taking a trip with our students, the Student Senate, and many of other students, including students from Belmont, the principal from Belmont, and a teacher from Belmont, to the State House. And we were invited by one of our House representatives to talk about sex trafficking. We live on the 75 corridor. When it hits 70, apparently it is a big issue, and it was a learning opportunity for all of us. But more importantly, I want to say how proud I was of our children. They were simply amazing. Not only did they get to go to the State House, 4 of them were selected to go to the press conference with the House rep and had an experience that 99.9% of us will never have. They were able to give a speech at a press conference. They were taped. I took some video, and I'm going to compile that. But our students, I had 3 African-American males, 1 African-American female, 2 from Thurgood Marshall, 1 from Stivers, 1 from Ponence. They were articulate. They were courageous. They were eloquent. And they were not prepared for this. It was all ad lib. Our children have so much to offer, and I just wanted to share that with you, that they had that great experience, and I'm appreciative of Ms. Walters coming along with us as well. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you very much. Our next agenda item is board member travel. You want Treasurer Abraham? We have an item here for board member travel. It's for a school visit to Cleveland, Ohio, February 8th and 9th.
Okay.
Okay? Can we have a motion to care for that expenditure? We're gonna, Well, I'm one of the persons who will be traveling to Cleveland early in the morning, and I'll let Superintendent Core speak to it. It's an exciting trip, and it's a new initiative that we are exploring, and I think that it'll have great significance for our district in the future. So if you would share
Yes, sir.
around that.
So Dr. Walker approached me a little while back as we dealt with a great deal of our African refugees that are coming to not only Dayton, but across the country. And as I talk to teachers and I talk to principals, they don't feel that they have the tools in their proverbial toolbox to address all of the issues of language, culture, the social emotional components. And one thing that I did in Cleveland was I founded an International Newcomers Academy. We started with 118 students. The school is up to about 950. It is pre-K through 12, and it's very specialized services. All the teachers have been trained in a specific program called SIOP, Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol, which I know this summer we plan to train the entire staff. It's not only good for people learning the language, but it's good teaching. So we plan to visit the school. We have a schedule set up for tomorrow, and we will visit various classrooms. We will also meet with the teachers that started with me in the first year that I had an opportunity to interview and select to talk about not just the great things, but some of the bumps in the road that we encountered. So, you know, and sharing with our colleagues across Ohio and really across the country, we try to replicate programs such as Males of Color. We want to bring out the best that we can in our program, and we don't always need to reinvent the wheel, but we need to share best practices. So we do have a team. A couple of us will be driving up tonight. It has been a long day, but it'll be a wonderful trip. And we also will be visiting a Buer dual language school. It is a full two-way immersion school. So it is for students that speak Spanish and for students that speak English, and they get a chance to learn each other's language. And we will be having other conversations with key personnel as well as they help us move forward in creating the new Dayton Public Schools, as well as with our career technical options that are coming up, and getting other ideas we need to share with colleagues. So I look forward to this journey. Thank you so much, Dr. Walker.
Motion to approve board member travel.
Second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Lacy and Board Member McManus for the second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote.
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
6 yeses.
I think that for our agenda for the public, that concludes our agenda for the public. We are now preparing to move into executive session. And pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board go into executive session to discuss the purchase and/or sale of property at competitive bidding, and to consider the preparation, conduct, or review of negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. We will adjourn to the board conference room. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member Lacy. We're ready to vote.
President Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Bagheera,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. McManus,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
6 yeses.